we have heard the episode, the story, or rather the conversation between Angel Gabriel and Zechariah. And before that, perhaps, I would like to say, as we have heard, that Elizabeth, being the wife of Zechariah, was barren. They could not conceive. They did not have a child. Now, if we go a little bit back, we see the background of the Jewish culture. In the Jewish culture, once you marry, after 10 years of your marriage, if the wife is not conceiving or the woman is not conceiving, the man was allowed. He had the obligation of divorcing that particular woman simply because they are not conceiving. So being barren in Jewish culture was seen as a curse. Being barren simply meant in Jewish culture that you have sinned and therefore you are being punished by God, because it's not normal for a woman not to have a child. That was a context in Jewish culture by then, in the time of Mary, Elizabeth, and Zechariah. Now we see this couple, as we have heard, they were both righteous, the gospel says. Zechariah and Elizabeth, they were both righteous. They feared the Lord. And remember, Zechariah was a priest by then. So being a priest, you not compare with the priest of today. It's quite different. So by then, what I mean by a priest is that Zechariah was a kind of, a priest was seen a kind of bridge between the people of God, between the people and God. So Zechariah was a man of the temple. Therefore, he could go to temple regularly to go to pray, to offer prayers on behalf of the people and so on. So he was seen, not only was he a righteous man, but also he was seen in the eyes of the people as a blessed person. Now, how come that they have no child? So Zechariah was supposed to have all the blessings of this world, being a priest. Now it happened that they have no child. What can we learn from this story? The first lesson is that despite the fact that Zechariah and Elizabeth did not have a child, and Zechariah had the obligation, could divorce Elizabeth, but he never did that. Meaning that the love and the fidelity of Zechariah for Elizabeth goes beyond fertility. It goes beyond having a child. God is good, and all the time. What we see today in many of our families, I think, is not different from what happened that time. Today also we have. If you are staying together, there are some even, they are having children. But if those children happen to be only girls, anafanya nini? Anaacha huyu atafuta mwingine. Anasema acha kutafuta mwingine, atanizalisha, atazaa vijana. It's so sad. Look at this great man, Zechariah. Despite all those years, he never bothered. It was a shame for him. People could mock at them, they could speak. Look at that couple. He's even a priest. And yet, he's supposed to have all the blessings. And yet, he's cursed. He's not having a child. But he never bothered about the shame. He stick to his wife. Fidelity in marriage is very important. Love and fidelity should go beyond having a child. And remember always, in the context of marriage, a child is a gift from God. And again, when we look at them, we see in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the world, Zechariah was rejected. Because people could not believe why he's not having a child. This man is cursed. But in God's eyes, Zechariah was the blessed one. You may be mocked, you may be rejected by people, and when people mock at you, whatever they speak about you, I always say it has no impact. And let God speaks. And when they speak, sometimes you should be laughing at them because they're just putting comma. You know, kama unaandika, you are writing, can be a letter, anything. When you put a comma, it does not mean it has finished that particular sentence, isn't it? So when people speak, mock at you, just say, there's a commas. It is only God who can speak, who can make a full stop in your life. Haijaisha bado mpaka Mungu aseme imeisha. This is what Zechariah believed in. In an old age, I imagine perhaps they are already, they've reached already maybe above 60s because they got a child in their advanced age. That is why when the angel told Zechariah that your wife will conceive, Zechariah was like, what are you saying? What are you speaking? Look at me, I'm old. I'm above 60. And my wife is above 60. How come that we have a child? And because of his doubt, we have heard that he became mute. He could not speak. Never doubt about God. God had another plan for them. Perhaps they had their plan, but when God, Mungu akiingilia anabadilisha mpango wako, God changed their plan. And God's plan is always bigger than our plan. Our thoughts are not God's thoughts, and our plans are not God's plans. Look at the plans of God. God gives them a child, and this child becomes famous. And we know him is called John the Baptist. And up to today, we still speak of John the Baptist. He's the one who prepared the way for the Lord. Look at now the plan of God. And another thing we can also learn from Zechariah is patience. Though he doubted, because he's human, he was human, but also the patience that he had. After 10 years, he would have divorced, but he remained faithful. He was patient with his wife Elizabeth. Let us also learn to be patient in our marriage. When things are not working out, you don't need to rush. Just be patient. And says that, I know it's not working today, but tomorrow it can work. So these are the lessons that we get from today. And I pray for all the couples, perhaps in search for a child, they have been together, and yet they're not conceiving, they're not having a child. That this episode between Zechariah, Elizabeth, and the angel Gabriel may console them, may bring consolation and hope in this family. And also may God grant them the desire of their heart as these couples continue trusting in His providence. God is good.